Okay, I haven't brushed the hair yet today, and I'm getting a really late start because dealing with a migraine. Ironically, a couple of videos ago, said it's been a while since I had one, and I thought I was over them. But I tried the whole. Ooh, we're just gonna do the mix of everything. I don't have any interesting coffees to make right now. We're just gonna make this weird, unholy amalgamation of coffee. Um, I tried the whole shower method, although I didn't fall asleep in it this time, which maybe is the reason why. One, two, three, four, almost. That wasn't a full four. We'll do a big five. Five. All right. Coffee is brewing. So, I didn't even start off the video I wanted to. The way I wanted to. My brain is not functioning properly today. I wanted to start the video off by saying, I lied. I lied to you and I lied to myself. But I wasn't talking about the migraines when I was saying that. Um, I can feel it in my lower back and it's making me nauseous. It's that kind of migraine. Um, so, uh, what did I lie about? I lied about having all of the videos uploaded. I noticed that yesterday while I was backing up things on my hard drive, and oof, I noticed it yesterday while I was backing up things on my hard drive, and I forgot that because I ran out of space on the old school hard drive, I was for a while recording stream VODs to the SSD, and that still had about 500 gigabytes of video on it. Now, fortunately, most of that is from the 1,000 follower streamathon celebration. So, because I was also dealing with migraines during that and uh, just low energy, like whatchamacallit, chronic exhaustion during that stream. Uh, I ended up not being able to just go for 24 hours straight like I used to. So it's broken up over, I think, 3 days. And that means there's like several decently long sections that I can just trim out of that and don't need to be rendered and uploaded. So probably like 250 gigabytes of that is just background dead air. I kept the stream live that whole time during the stream, during the subathon. I just would put up a I'll be back when I wake up type thing. And yeah, so I'm still uploading that. Now, that being said, I'm still going to stream today a little bit. I don't know how long I'll last, but we're gonna do it because I said I was gonna do it, even if it's just me going live and bitching about how much my head hurts. I tried the shower method as soon as I noticed I was starting to get a bit of a headache. You can, when you have an experience with migraines, like chronic migraines, you know when it's a migraine versus a normal headache, usually, the moment you start to feel it. Uh, so I went and I took a long hot shower and massaged those areas. And honestly, I feel like it just made it worse, or perhaps it just sped up the process. I think maybe that's why falling in the shower, I didn't fall asleep. Falling asleep, I didn't fall in the shower. I fell asleep in the shower last week or 2 weeks or whatever the fuck it was. Just look at the uploads. Um, Falling asleep in the shower, I think, was the solution because then I just slept through the worst part of it. It's almost like I knocked something loose, you know? That's just the best way to describe it. And I'm dealing with the aftermath of that right now. I actually just laid in my bed for probably somewhere between 1 and 3 hours, just doing my best to meditate the pain away because that's the only option I have at the moment. Uh, it was successful. It's just incredibly time consuming. At least partially successful. You know, successful enough that I could get up and make coffee and make the video. Oh, anyways, yeah. So I haven't restarted. I haven't cleared. Fuck. I can't talk. It's just actually that annoying. Um, I have not installed a new OS on the PC yet because of finding all those files that weren't uploaded. I have everything else backed up. I made the bootable media. It's literally ready to just wipe, except for those videos, those VODs from the Streamathon, which are ones I absolutely want. And uh, I was hoping to have it done, or mostly done, by the time I made this video, because I started one last night before I went to sleep, and ooh, the nausea's hitting. Give me a minute. I started one last night before I went to sleep, and did the upload of the previous one, and the plan was to wake up and just go to work again, but my head has not been compliant with that today. Interestingly enough, I thought it was going to be a great and super productive day because last night was the first night in like 2 weeks that I've managed to get decent sleep without like insane insomnia. I know you're bored, Charlie. He's really mad that he can't go outside right now because it's just snowy, and he gets bored when he's stuck inside the house. Even when I play with him, he's just a very outdoor cat that likes to run around murdering bunnies and things. Or sometimes whatever he can get a hold of, really. There was once I left the back door open unintentionally, and he brought a dead mouse into the studio and like dropped it on the carpet in my studio. Um, so he always gets worse when I'm like talking to you guys too. Like he'll be sleeping over in the living room on the carpet, and then as soon as I start this video, he's like, "Pay attention to me." Ow. Um, that kind of hurt. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, I thought I was like. Now he's tripping me. I thought I was in the clear, but clearly I'm not. And it seems to be I'm like stuck in this revolving door of bullshit where either there's three things. So there is an easy solution to both of these, right? Which is THC. THC is the only thing I've found that effectively treats the migraines and allows me to get sleep without like messing up the rest of the day, kind of. And we'll get to the kind of in a minute because this is, well, one of the issues right now is that I simply can't afford it at the moment. Oh, well, that dealt with some of the nausea. But one of the other issues is that, so when I was real young, in like high school, they used to prescribe me Imitrex for the migraines, But that was in some ways worse than the THC. Not that I was doing THC in high school. I know plenty of people are, especially these days. But I didn't get into that until college. But oh yeah, just let me it's in my eye. Give me a second. All right. Now it's in the temple, but I can deal with it better than. So the Imitrex, when I would take that, it would like literally shut me down. I would, after about like 20 minutes or so, I would basically just pass out for whatever reason. That shit always put me to sleep immediately. But then when I woke up, the migraine was gone. So it did kind of work, but also it's like a nuclear option in some ways. The THC, it's like the opposite. It takes like 10 to 20 minutes to get working. But then at that point, it's like, even when I can feel the pain, it dramatically reduces the amount. And then it starts to fade through the rest of the day. But the problem is, even though I'm awake, I find it hard to stay focused and motivated and do work, as is probably no surprise to anyone. So I was experimenting with different dosages and infrequent dosages. Like, I was working on a rule where I was doing it only on Saturdays. And I say working on that because I wasn't exactly great about following that. Uh, I'm working on, like, I was hoping to kind of just leave it entirely in 2025, to be honest, and hoped I could find, because I was very optimistic that I was just done with the migraines, but I found apparently that I'm not done with the migraines. And give me a second. The furnace came on, and normally that doesn't matter, but it's really loud right now with the migraine. Let me just adjust to it. Okay, so I was hoping I could leave THC for the most part in 2025. Not that I like would fully never do it again type thing, because hey, I enjoy a nice blunt or bong hit as much as the next person, but more just like, I didn't want it to be habitual anymore. But I'm not sure anymore. I'm stuck between these like three different annoying situations where either so one of the things that I was experimenting with towards the end of the year was, again, doing it only Saturday. But then I found that, um, while Saturday, so like weekly usage, by the way, seemed to be enough to keep the the migraines at bay. But then the problem with that was that seems to be where most of the insomnia comes from, right? Uh, where after a couple days, like I sleep fine the first night or two, but after a couple days, partially throughout the week, I just start getting the really disruptive dreams where even though they're just really mundane, sometimes very lame dreams, sometimes they just wake me up and constantly interrupt my sleep. Uh, Chill, Charlie. Uh, like, I really can't deal with you right now. He was bothering me while I was laying in bed, clutching my head, trying to deal with this migraine. And I'm over him right now. He can, yeah, you. I just, I really wish you could just go outside, but he'll like beg to go outside, and then I'll open the door and he'll see all the snow out there, and he'll just change his mind and come back in. But I forget what I was saying because you just distracted the hell out of me, Cat. Oh yeah, so I'm stuck in this like weird, annoying triangle where it seems like I'm always either unable to get anything done because I have these migraines that are just debilitating, or I uh, am struggling to get things done either because I'm using THC like once or twice a week, and that's giving me insomnia, or uh, I'm using it daily and then I struggle to be motivated and focused. It's like I can't find the balance or the solution. I think potentially there is maybe a way to do it. Like the old school, just pull yourself up by bootstraps me says it seems like the most optimal solution is just to use it daily or every other day and just focus on being more focused, you know? Because, like, I just find it so weird that the most interesting thing for me is that um, there seems to be a really distinct connection between the insomnia and the migraines, except for it's like uh, a negative correlation, right? It's like either I have the insomnia or I have the migraines. And I don't really understand why. That's something I'm still working on. I'm very annoyed with the universe today just because I managed to like finally get decent sleep for the first time in like 3 weeks maybe. And of course, it's the first time I get a brutal, debilitating migraine in like 3 weeks. Uh, it definitely is a recurring pattern at this point. I've mentioned it in previous videos, and God, I really thought I was done with the migraines. I, I guess that they're definitely not something I'm leaving in 2026. Listen, Charlie, unless you're just gonna give me a back massage, I don't want to hear it right now, because I could just really use someone to like lay me down and massage the shit out of my neck and shoulders right now. That would be very helpful, and lower back because I can feel it down there too. Um, but yeah, I need to figure this out. I'm not gonna let it keep slowing me down. Like I said, I'm just gonna power through it today. The plan is to drink this coffee, do some push-ups, and make my dinner. Then I will stream for a little bit because I said I was going to stream, even though we're not on the new OS yet. And that will slightly slow down switching over to the Duo S, because then I'm gonna have to upload that stream VOD. But if it's a short stream VOD, then it shouldn't be too bad. I am really hoping I just don't wake up with a migraine tomorrow, especially because there's important phone calls I need to make tomorrow once like businesses open and stuff. Uh Damn, dude, it's like so frustrating to be honest. The fact that it just won't go away. And I'm just trying to blow the fuck up in 2026 so I can use the talents God gave me to make the world a better place and hopefully create waves of hope for everyone. There's two other things I wanted to say before I ramble for too long. Oh, God. Give me a minute. Hmm. I do find it interesting that I can kind of meditate the pain away, you know? But it's very much uh it takes a tremendous amount of energy. It's exhausting and also very very long amounts of time. Like I don't even know how long I was laying in my bed just meditating on the pain. Um Somewhere between 1 and 3 hours. It's just an estimate. It could be longer than that. It was definitely longer than an hour, though, I think. So I hate having this wasted time. Oh, especially because now that I'm tracking time with Toggle to force myself to, not necessarily to force myself to be more productive. I've been pretty productive over the past year, but to incrementally increase my productivity. Um, I see these massive gaps on the time chart, and I'm like, damn, it's so inconvenient that I have to sleep, you know? So, uh, seeing that time or I'm not working because I'm sleeping is already frustrating enough. Now, if there'll be time gaps, like today, when I look back at it, is going to frustrate the hell out of me because there's going to be huge time gaps where I like, well, I was awake, but um, I wasn't getting any work done because it felt like Punisher was taking his drill to my neck and head. So, I do want to say Toggle is great. I love Toggle, and I highly recommend anyone, especially someone who's self employed, use it to help with productivity and keeping yourself accountable. And it's a good way to like determine how much time you spend on different projects. Um, oh, there goes the nausea again. Give me a minute. Okay, so there were two other things I wanted to say. Um, the whole reason the plan for the video was to do like the, well, not the whole reason. The whole reason was I just totally messed up with still needing to upload 500 more gigabytes of video. Well, probably like 2 to 300 gigabytes of video after I uh, edit out all the dead air and stuff. But I lied about that. And I feel like something I said in a previous video could have possibly been misinterpreted as I was thinking about it. One, I just want to say that, first of all, when I was talking about the Grok AI thing and the whole undress me bullshit, it's gotten even worse uh, than when it was when I originally talked about it, in that people have been using it to undress children and even infants, and that is just absolutely categorically disgusting in any way. I'm going to give people the same warning I gave at the end of that video. That kind of stuff just is not good for your soul. Don't do it. Like, do better, treat people better. Also, I feel like there was a section where I was talking about certain things being in a morally gray area, and I want to flesh that out a little bit more. One, I want to say personally, I think that like pretty much all that stuff, regardless of whether it's a sex worker or uh, a random person that just uploaded a picture of themselves to the internet, uh, all that is morally wrong as far as I'm concerned. The reason it becomes a little bit of a morally gray area is because what about political cartoons, right? Uh, there is a distinction in US law between a public figure and a private individual. But the lines between that have been increasingly muddied, right? I think everyone can agree that, like, Donald Trump, uh, Elon Musk, AOC, Joe Biden, all these people are public figures, right? I think people can agree someone like Eminem or Doja Cat or even smaller uh, musicians or people that may not really do much music anymore and are more uh, social commentators like Boosie Badass and Joe Budden, all public figures, right? But what about a person who's just uploading vacation videos or pictures to Instagram? Uh, when do they become a public figure versus a private individual? Is it at 100 followers? Is it at 1,000 followers? Is it at 10,000 followers? Right? Um, when does it happen? I personally think the easiest way to like draw a hard line is the profile public or not? You know? Uh I think if your social media is public and you're posting that to everyone, then by definition you are, since it's a public profile, you're a public figure, regardless of how small you are. And that's a choice you're making. I think if the profile is private, then by definition, you are a not a public figure, assuming other factors aren't involved. For example, when in if like Haley Welsh, who is clearly a public figure at this point, giving her uh she's the Hawk Tuah girl, if you're not familiar with that name, by the way. I'm sure you all know that, or at least most of you. Uh she had her whole podcast and everything. She's gone on other people's podcasts. She's clearly enjoying the limelight. Um, it, I don't know if she did or not, but say like she goes and she privates her Instagram and Twitter account after her crypto scam, that doesn't just suddenly make her a private figure, right? I believe um, it's one of those things that it's like the cat's out of the bag type thing. So once you become a public figure, you are a public figure, and it's a choice you made, and it's a choice you have to live with, right? Ow. But also, I don't think you're necessarily okay. I'm not even gonna go down that route. That's just a weird philosophical conversation for another day. The point is, where is the line of what's okay? Because I think most people can agree that making um, cartoons in like challenging a politician that use that politician's likeness or a caricature of it are absolutely protected within free speech, right? Uh, that is one of the fundamental rights of free speech and freedom of the press, even though that person obviously wouldn't want that type of content for the most part being made about them. Uh, So it's like that, I think we can all agree is protected free speech. And if you don't agree, then you're probably not an American and should go live somewhere else before you fuck up this country. But on the other side, uh, I think we can also all agree that, like, even if, like, Kim Kardashian or someone uploads a picture of their child to the internet, and then you use Grok to undress that child, that is obviously not protected free speech. And I think if you disagree, then you should probably go live in some other country before you fuck up this one. That's the thing that annoys me the most recently. All these people that are living in America and benefiting of capitalism and all the luxury and benefits we have here. And all they do is all their content is ranting about how much they hate America. Then go live somewhere else if you actually hate America. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? There are people here that are actually trying to fix the problems. I think anyone who is honest about the United States is going to say, yeah, we have our problems. But at the same time, um, I firmly believe it's still the best country in the world. I think we're moving in the wrong direction in a lot of ways, but I I do think it's still worth saving, and I think that the people that just run around saying, "I hate America, boo America, yay communism, yay fascism," those are all evil fucks that we don't need here. And again, I think they have the right to say that, protected free speech, of course. But like, why are you making yourself miserable like that? If you really hate America so much, if you love communism, go live in a communist country. Like, it's that easy. Now, speaking of communist countries, the whole Venezuela thing, apparently their communist dictator has been taken down. And I think the what we're seeing there is a demonstration of just how evil the left has become. And I hate saying this because I'm pretty much a centrist, right? Uh, Not to say I'm not a fence sitter or anything like that. I think I've made it pretty clear. I will absolutely stand up and say what I believe is right. I'm libertarian leaning, so slightly on the right, but I'm also generally more left than most people that call themselves libertarian because I believe in universal basic income and things like that. But I think the important thing here is I don't want to ostracize people who are on the left just by calling out the left for their evil bullshit, but because I call out the right for their evil bullshit too. But in this particular situation, from what I can see, Venezuelans themselves, both those living in the country and a large population of them in Miami, apparently, are celebrating the capture of Maduro. Now, this is when we really get into the legally and morally gray areas. Legally, was that something the president can do? I don't know, to be honest. Um, I did study political science and that type of stuff in college, but like I said, my in the past, I've said this in previous videos. I'm struggling to put words together, guys. Okay, In the past, I've said in previous videos, my focus of study was on constitutional law specifically. And there are questions about whether he could not do that constitutionally, because there's an argument of whether or not it was an act of war, and technically, active wars require approval by Congress, but also the president is the commander of chief in the military and can conduct certain levels of military operations without approval of Congress. Um, so like that's a whole thing for the legal scholars to figure out. That's just making my headache worse right now, to be honest. So I'm not gonna talk about that one anymore. But I'm not very well versed on international law. And here's the thing. I think international law personally is really just an illusion, right? Because who the fuck enforces international law? Certainly not the UN. They can barely even do their actual peacekeeping missions anymore. They've become almost entirely defunct at this point. Uh, you could argue that it's a violation of international law, but like, does the law even truly exist if there's no entity capable of enforcing it? My argument would be no. So then what's the point of international law if the laws can't be enforced? It's literally just an illusion. I think so. I say I'm not a fence sitter, but I am on the fence about this whole Maduro situation because I think in the short term, it appears to be um, a decent thing because the Venezuelans themselves are really happy about it, which is what I really have to say that pisses me off about the left. The left ends up being the most racist and misogynistic and all other kinds, like all the bad words. I see that the left acting that way more than the right because it's like the Venezuelans themselves are celebrating their freedom from this guy, but the left is like, oh my God, it's so evil. It's like, wait, so you guys wanted them to continue to be trod on and have all their rights stripped away by a communist dictator? Oh, wait, that's right, because they want the United States to be a communist dictatorship itself, at least if you ask fucking Hassan and all those idiots that surround him. But, like, that's the thing that I feel is most disgusting about the left, right? It's like a bunch of white women generally telling other people what they should be thankful for or how they should feel about things. It's like, why don't you just go and ask them? Why don't you ask the Venezuelans how they feel about Venezuela being freed from I'm sorry, that was a rough one. Why don't you ask the Venezuelans how they feel about Venezuela being freed from a communist dictator instead of telling them that they shouldn't be happy about it? Like, it's just so frustrating to see that kind of holier than thou elitism coming from people who have never had any kind of significant struggle in their life, you know? And that's the real reason that Donald Trump won and is so popular among the right and even a lot of the moderates. It's uh, because, yeah, he's an asshole and a con man, if you ask me, but uh, at least he kind of does what he says he's going to do. And I think it's important for people to realize that he's also a businessman and a negotiator with like the whole tariffs thing. anyone who has half a brain at all would have realized when he said he was going to put 100% tariffs on everyone that almost certainly was not going to happen. It was absolutely a negotiating tactic. Uh, like when you go and negotiate how much you're going to pay for a car, you don't go like say say let's go talk about like it's a used car dealer, right? There's this car that's up there for we're going to take we're going to like make the numbers a little more extreme just to amplify the point. I feel like if you made the offer, I'm going to suggest a lot of dealerships might just kick you out. But you go in and say you want this car that is listed for $1,500 or $15,000. Sorry, um, you can't get a car for $1,500 anymore. Thanks, Obama. And I'm not just memeing there. It's literally Obama's fault that you can't get cars for used for like under 5 grand anymore. Just look up the Cash for Clunkers program. One of the biggest lies ever forced upon Americans. But moving on. So, um, you say you want to. This car has a list price, or the dealer is offering it for $15,000. Um, so you make a counter offer of $10,000, and you end up settling at $12,500, right? That's how business negotiation tactics work, and that's what was really going on with the whole tariffs thing. He threatened a certain position, and in exchange for getting other things he ended up putting lower tariffs in place. Now, I don't think tariffs are good for the country or international trade in general. I feel like there are better ways to do what he wanted to accomplish. What I always come back to is positive reinforcement works better than negative reinforcement. I don't think it was worth tanking the economy and hurting our relationships with some of our closest allies, especially Canada, just to get people to build more computer chips here in the United States, you know? So I think the tariffs were just a bad idea in general. But people that are like, "Oh, he said he was gonna put 100% tariffs, and then he didn't. He's a liar." No, that was just a negotiating tactic. You need to pull your heads out of your asses and start learning how the fucking world works. Uh, clearly the migraine is getting to me a little bit because I've got no time for anyone's bullshit. At least in 2026. Ironically, um, it's starting to feel a little better. Maybe I just needed to spit some venom at people, and then it's not in my neck anymore, which is where I feel it the most right now, and then it just like travels everywhere else. But yeah, the big thing is maybe the caffeine's helping too. That's probably one of the things. Constriction of blood vessels and all that. I should probably just destroy this coffee cup as soon as I'm done, and then maybe the headache will be gone uh, by the time I'm ready to start the stream. So the thing I'm concerned about with Venezuela though is the whole Banana Republics thing. If you don't know what that is, go in and like just look at history of the United States interfering with other countries' election process. Uh, I think it's interesting that the Venezuelans, as a whole, generally seem to be celebrating this. Uh, of course, I'm sure there are some dissenters, but it seems like people are generally more happy than not that he's removed. Uh, I do think it's not really our position to interfere with another country's politics like that, though. Especially if it's not interfering with us directly. As far as I'm aware, like Venezuela's just down there doing their own shit, and they haven't really done anything to directly interfere with America, except that we want their oil, which is what it's really all about, right? You don't see us going into Africa and help uh, the people that are suffering under oppressive dictators and government regimes there, do you? Uh, I think it's important for anyone that's trying to frame this as some kind of humanitarian effort that is not that at all, right? They don't care that the people of Venezuela were suffering. They just care that we didn't have access to that oil. Um, and the thing that worries me about the whole situation is if you look at the history of the United States interfering with a nation's internal politics, it almost always ends up bad, right? Um, it ended up bad in Afghanistan. It ended up bad in the Banana Republics. There's just, it always creates a power vacuum where someone worse comes in. And I understand that for the people of Venezuela, it might be hard to see that future right now. But I'm especially worried about the fact that we're coming up on the end of Trump's second term soon. Uh, it takes like a decade to reorganize a government properly, you know? Or at least get it functioning smoothly. A bare minimum, it's going to take 4 or 5 years, and he doesn't have 4 or 5 years left in office, right? So what's going to happen when the Democrats win in the next election, if they manage to win in the next election? It would they would have to like royally fuck up to not win in the next election, but they've gotten very good at royally fucking up lately, so who knows? But I don't think a Democrat president would uh, really benefit Venezuela at all. I feel like very bad things could happen if we're still running the country at that point. You know, I feel like the best situation at this point is to just, now that we've stuck our foot in it, we need to ensure that fair and free elections happen and then walk away and let them sort that shit out themselves, right? We should have never gotten involved in the first place, is personally my opinion. But again, that can of worms is open at this point. So, I think we need to clean up the mess before we walk away. And based off the way that Biden handled all the things he did, and when he was president of international politics, and just letting Al Qaeda or the Taliban take over, um, just giving them a whole bunch of military equipment, and it's just fucking pathetic, really. But I'm worried that if we're still in control there when a Democratic president takes the reins, it's just going to be another messy pull-out slop fest where we fuck everything up for the people there and leave it worse off than when we interfered in the first place. I don't think we should really be interfering with that type of shit. Um, I think, if anything, I do think it's important to provide humanitarian aid when it is requested, but I don't think that should necessarily be the responsibility of any one country. That should be the responsibility of a global police force, so to speak. But that doesn't really exist because the UN is just utterly dickless and spineless, you know? Anyways, I have spent more time rambling than intended, but I'm gonna do some stretches, do some push ups, and hopefully that helps with the migraine. I'm going to go live late tonight because just everything has been going slow today. But what I really wanted to say, and have been having trouble focusing on because of the headache, was the PC. We encountered that little hiccup of still having all those long stream VODs. And the irony of streaming tonight is that it's going to add more stream VODs that need to be uploaded. But I really don't feel like I'm going to have the energy to go longer than 2 hours after uh, the migraine and all that stuff, especially how long I've been awake already just fighting it. So it's going to be a really short stream VOD, not one of the fucking 10-hour ones that takes 5 hours to upload. It shouldn't add much time tomorrow, but I did say I was going to stream on the 4th, so I'm going to stream on the 4th, and then at some point I'm going to have to take a day off this week probably to install the new OS, but I don't know. Maybe that's Wednesday or Thursday. Wednesday seems like the best day because, for whatever reason, that seems to be the day that the least number of people watch the stream. So, right now, let's say I'll probably not be streaming Wednesday, and hopefully, I have the new OS installed by Thursday, and I can stream then. Anyways, I'm going to drink this coffee. Hope that deals with the pounding headache. After also doing some stretches and push ups, that always helps a little bit. Just being, you'd think it wouldn't, but it does. Being active, moving my body. And then I'm also gonna eat some food and hope that helps with the nausea. And then I'll be live maybe around the time these videos finish uploading. I'm not sure. It's hard to focus when my head is just pounding like this and things like the fucking furnace take me out, you know? But anyways, I'm just pushing through it. Hopefully 2026 is the year that I discover a solution to these chronic migraines. And I love all of you, and God bless America. Peace.